We begin with breaking news. Police officers in Chandler shoot and kill a man who they say was threatening to harm his own child. And this all played out near a major intersection. Thank you for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Troy Hayden. Officers are still in the very early stages of this investigation, and 12 News journalist Maria Stobbs is near Chandler Boulevard and McQueen Road, where all of this happened. Maria?
Well, Troy, around 5:45 this evening, a man reportedly called police threatening to harm his young daughter who was in the car with him. He continued to drive around for several minutes, but he still made those threats while on the phone with police. Eventually, he came to a stop at this parking lot at a housing complex right behind me. Now, this is where he told police he lives, and from outside of the complex, we could see a car with a door open. Police said they met him there and continued to try to de-escalate the situation. But at some point, at least one officer shot their weapon at him and he died at the scene. Police told us no officers were hurt and the man's young daughter is okay.
I can tell you right now that the young child is doing okay, certainly shaken up, but obviously that would be a tough situation for anybody to be involved in. So really challenging, and our hearts go out. We know that this is a holiday. We know that this is a time of year that people celebrate with their families, and so we can never discredit a loss of life. It's a tragedy.
Details are still very limited right now, so we don't know if that man had a weapon on him or if he was proceeding to harm his young daughter who was in the car with him. So we're hoping to learn more in the next few hours as Mesa Police take over this investigation. We're live in Chandler. Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
Yeah, and it's so awful this child had to go through this. Was there some sort of a custody dispute or something, Maria? What started all of this?
We have no idea what was going on, what led to this, what kind of threats were being made, but we do know that police were saying they take any type of threat seriously, so they came as soon as possible to try and de-escalate the situation, and we don't know what led to the shooting, but at least one officer did discharge their weapon.
All right, Maria Stobbs for us live in Chandler. Thank you, Maria. New at 10, a New Year's Eve celebration turned into felony charges in El Mirage. Police say a man fired a gun into the air multiple times in a quiet neighborhood. That is against the law. The Valley still combating random gunfire decades after a young woman lost her life from a stray bullet that fell from the sky and hit her in the top of her head. 12 News journalist Sean Rice has the story.
New Year's Eve is, of course, a night filled with celebration. The sound of fireworks rang out through this El Mirage neighborhood like it did in many across the valley. But there was a sound of something else in this neighborhood last night as well. The sound of gunshots, not fired at someone, but up in the air. And it created an incredibly dangerous situation for everyone who lives here. The sounds on New Year's Day in this El Mirage neighborhood south of Thunderbird Road and Grand Avenue starkly different than those heard just the night before.
We're just enjoying our backyard, for our New Year's, and all of a sudden we just heard a bunch of bullets, and we were like scared because they got to come down.
George and Connie Lopez saw a half dozen El Mirage police cruisers park in front of their home. Officers approaching the couple about their gunshot detection systems, picking up multiple gunshots fired near their home.
I just came out with my hands up and I said, it wasn't me.
The officers' focus turned to their neighbor, identified as 69-year-old Guadalupe Alvarez. In his backyard, they found 8 spent shell casings, 3 handguns, 2 rifles, a shotgun, and hundreds of rounds of ammunition also found in his home. Their investigation revealing Alvarez was firing a gun in the air with little care about where the bullets would land.
I was just praying, because I know those bullets got to come down. So that's why I was just praying, either it was me or my husband.
Alvarez was arrested on a felony charge, discharging a firearm within city limits. But that crime wasn't always a felony.
We heard about the Shannon's Law, and it's, very important to our lives.
Connie and George know the name Shannon Smith, a 14-year-old girl who lived in Phoenix back in 1999, when on one June night near her home at 2nd Street in Pasadena in central Phoenix, a bullet fired from over a half-mile away came down and struck her on top of her head, killing her. Her parents advocated for harsher laws on this dangerous behavior. Laws now landing Alvarez in the Maricopa County Jail. What emotions does that bring up, knowing that she lost her life in this way?
It was sad for her parents, her family, her brother. She's never going to grow up and be a mother, married or nothing.
A woman inside Alvarez's home declined to comment on his arrest. Right next door, their neighbors call him a good person who made a mistake. On their front window, a sign showing they are gun owners themselves. This incident reminding them of how important it is to use them responsibly.
You have a gun and you have to, you're going to use it. You shouldn't be using it. Only, for protection of your family. But other than that, you should not be using that.
In El Mirage, Sean Rice, 12 News.
Developing tonight, a boy dies after being shot at a New Year's Eve celebration in Globe. Happened just after 1 a.m. at a home on McKinney Avenue. Police haven't said exactly how old the boy is, only saying he's a minor. And tonight, the sheriff's office is looking for a person of interest who's identified now as 19-year-old Deshaun Tarango. Anybody who has any information on where he is tonight is asked to contact Gila County deputies. One of two people shot at a Goodwill store in Tucson on Friday has now died. 30-year-old Juan Cristobal Flores succumbed to his injuries at his hospital this morning. The other victim's in critical condition. 40-year-old Adrian Orozco was arrested for that shooting on Tuesday morning. He's expected to face upgraded charges now. Police haven't released any details about what led up to that shooting or any possible motive. The people of Rio Verde foothills in the North Valley have been fighting for years to make sure they have a steady supply of water to their homes. There have been short-term agreements in the past. Now they finally have a more permanent solution. So water is finally flowing in the area, but it is coming at a big cost. So this whole area was just built for the trucks to come in and put the water in the pipes that lead to their homes. Homeowners have to pay now not just for the water they use, but also for the cost of trucking it up into their neighborhood.
That doesn't guarantee us a future of water that is affordable. And starting off at $300 to $350 a month for just a basic minimum delivery, that's a lot of money.
Rio Verde Foothills used to rely on the city of Scottsdale for their water, but the city cut them off in 2023, saying they needed to focus on conservation. The new year is bringing some changes to the minimum wage across Arizona, and some of those changes could lead to you paying higher prices in the coming months. Statewide, Arizona's minimum wage has now increased to $15.15. That's an increase of 45 cents an hour. Tipped workers are still allowed to be paid a lower rate, so they get tips on top of that lower rate. But in Flagstaff, the changes are more dramatic. Minimum wage is going up by 50 cents. And the new rule applies to everybody. That means tipped workers up there still get that minimum wage of over $18, a nearly $2 raise, and still get tips. Some business owners saying that could have big consequences. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly has more from Flagstaff.
Flagstaff city leaders are the ones that implemented this type of increase, saying it ensures tipped workers receive a more reliable paycheck. But those workers' bosses say this is going to end up costing everyone more in the long run. Depending on who you ask.
It's about time. I think they should be. Minimum wage should definitely have gone up years ago.
It seems like the cost of eating out is going to go way up.
Flagstaff increasing its minimum wage to $18.35 an hour, including for workers who get tips, is getting mixed reactions.
If I could just have you sign right down there.
For NAU student Rihanna Schaefer, who works here at Yogurt when she's not in class,
I think it's always a benefit for the employee to get a pay increase. I mean, how could I be mad at that?
saying it will help pay her bills with rent, electricity, and grocery prices going up.
It will definitely help right now, but I think probably in the long run it'll probably cause prices to rise in other areas.
Which is a concern for the owner of the shop, Scott McLaughlin.
We are a very, very small business. It does hurt us a little bit. Exaggerated on a little bit.
McLaughlin has 5 employees, including Schaefer. With the increase, he's considering coming in more on slower days to make up the cost.
I don't think we're going to raise our prices in the near future. We're going to see. We're going to check it out.
Other restaurants who didn't want to go on camera or be associated with this story told me they do plan on raising prices, reducing staff, and cutting hours. A Plan Arizona Chamber of Commerce president and CEO Danny Seiden says could happen everywhere.
When you mandate it and there's no flexibility, some programs like, youth hiring goes out the window like I talked about. And the prices, do get passed down to consumers. We do feel it.
Especially at a time when businesses are dealing with tariffs and uncertainty in the market. believing this increase will do more harm than good.
It really messes with the labor market. The people that these wage increases are meant to help get actually hurt the worst. It's very regressive.
Now, I'm told some restaurants have already increased their prices and started that process weeks ago in preparation for this change. We're in downtown Flagstaff. Chase Golightly, 12 News.